Welcome back to the Abundant Harvest Homestead. I'm Papa Pepper, and we are not going to be gardening this year. We are taking a full year off of planting, reaping, sowing, any of that. And the reason we're doing so is to give our property a Sabbath year of rest. This is something you find in the Bible, and we just feel like it's what we need to be doing. The interesting thing is this is like the worst time in my entire existence to not have a garden. If you look at the way inflation's going, you look at the supply chain, you look at even just the quality of food that you come across a lot, read the ingredients on packages and you're gonna be like, wow. Even stuff that contains non-GMO ingredients or contains certain things, look at what they add in to counteract that sometimes. It's amazing. So in preparation for that, I've got a little bit of planting left to do. And you might be thinking, how are you taking a year off if it's the end of March now and the year began in January? And for us, that's the current calendar man uses. If you look in scripture, you find that the Passover was on the 14th day of the first month. We plan on doing our Passover about mid-April. So if that's on the 14th day of the first month of the year, we back up 2 weeks from that, and we're at the beginning of April is when we are considering the first of the year. It just seems to be more accurate based on scripture than just following man's calendar, and that's kind of the way we're doing things. We're doing this in obedience to God, and we want to be doing it kind of on his timeline of when he says the year starts to when he says the year ends. So that gives me almost a week and a half to still garden this year. I've got a number of perennial beds like my strawberries and stuff that I need to take care of. I need to set in order so that they've got a chance for success over this next year. Remember, they send out runners. Eventually, there may not even be anywhere you started if they just kind of keep running out from there and the older plants die in the middle. So I've got to set that back in order. And then I also have a lot of plants in buckets. Fruit trees are blooming right now. They're blossoming. I've got some other fruit trees that still need to go into the ground. So I'm gonna try to get all that done here in the next week. Got some flowers to plant for Mama, some asparagus, some other things. So what I'm doing here is coming to my compost bins, and I'm gonna get a bunch of that compost, and then I'm also gonna take a bunch of the rabbit manure to build up some of these. Where I'm planting some asparagus, I wanna add quite a bit to it, and where I'm redoing some strawberry beds, I wanna add quite a bit to it first, then plant in there. So I've got 2 little helpers. I got Bugger and Sweet Pepper with me. They're actually running 5-gallon buckets over right now. Look at that little girl. Are you? She's carrying 3 buckets at a time, guys. This is what I mean. Look at that. She is 2. She's not 3 yet, and she's carrying 3 buckets at a time. Gotta love a child like that. That's awesome. I'm gonna do some of this compost first. Hey, I'll take those. No, I'll take those buckets. Throw them here. Now this is heading to a perennial bed, so kind of through the winter things don't quite compost as much as they do the rest of the year when it's warmer. But look at that. That is some really nice growing medium, and it still has a bit to go, so I don't mind having some remnants of things, pieces of eggshells, other things that could still, piece of a banana peel, go for a while in the bed. That's fine with me. But this is, our kitchen scraps, our yard waste. These are weeds from last year that we picked out of our garden. That's absolutely amazing. And then everything that's in there. Ha! A 4-year-old, 6 buckets at once. Look at this, guys. Look at that guy. He could have took 6 trips or 3 trips, but instead he took 1 to set his pop up for success. You guys are awesome. Thank you, my children. Yeah. Yeah, you did good. Put a couple over by that rabbit thing over there too. See that one? Yeah. I'll get some rabbit manure too. Personally, I choose to believe that family rearing, parenting, is kind of like a choose your own adventure, and you kind of sometimes get out of it what you put into it. I've said before that children are like pit bulls, meaning sometimes it's how you raise them that determines how they're going to behave. I've seen pit bulls that are beautiful, fun little lap puppies and things that are pretty much murder machines. You gotta watch how you raise children too, just like dogs like that. They have the capability to be disrespectful, disobedient, wicked eventually, or a huge blessing. These guys know that we view them as blessings, and they rise to that. And I simply ask them to move the buckets. To see 2-year-olds and 4-year-olds grabbing, 3 to 6 buckets at a time with their tiny hands, carrying them over, that's awesome. I love seeing stuff like that. It's amazing to me to look at 14 5-gallon buckets pretty much full of compost. And with this condense as everything was in here, it was just a little bit taller than that. All that came out of there. That's just absolutely amazing. And the chickens, of course, throw it out, so this whole area is built up. I'm going to remove that one as well. Anything that's still got to be composted will go in here. And then I'll start adding that stuff and mixing in some of this to finish cooking down everything. And I'll have 2 empties and 1 that's going. And then we'll start adding the kitchen scraps to another one.
Even this has no bowl.
Even that does?
Yeah.
All right. This here on the left is going to be like 9 buckets of rabbit manure plus all that compost. This is going to enrich those raised beds so much. And one thing I like to do every year I'm gardening is just keep making my beds deeper and richer, adding great growing medium into it. This stuff varies from kind of the really moist stuff to still crumbly and kind of formed stuff, and if I blend these two together, that's going to be awesome. And that's one reason I like gardening in a ground contact raised bed, where the roots can keep going down in the soil that exists here, the rocking of the clay, but they're going to have this really rich growing medium above that. And my raised beds are made with rocks, so as they get deeper, I can just keep adding rocks and make them deeper and deeper. I'm not sure how big they'll get one day, but I want to keep adding this stuff while I kind of create the growing environment for my plants, and especially the perennials. And then of course we like to use various liquid fertilizers. I got a whole great video on just simple ones you can make yourself. But, all this is generated on our property. All that's generated here just from the life we live and the way that we incorporate different things into it. Like for instance, the rabbits. Love that. And in fact, some of these things, if you could plant directly in it, you would have an amazing plant. So the more I can combine that with what's already here, which, the clay has minerals and nutrients and different stuff that the plant's going to be blessed by. But I keep combining that, adding to it, and making just a better and better growing medium every year. And then even some of the wild plants that we begin to incorporate into our landscape, they do better because of the investment we have in enriching the soil here. Just giving them a better place to grow, and they just thrive. They love it. So this area here on this side of these buckets following this rock wall up is actually raised bed that I planted hops in. So if you look at some of these guys sprouting up, these are hops right there. And they'll grow all the way up this thing to the top. Hops can be eaten raw, just like this. And they're a rather strong flavor with kind of like a bean, like a green bean like accent on it almost. In front of the hops here though too, I also have planted an amount of asparagus. For me, I'm gonna plant some more because once I plant this, it could be here for decades. These are Jersey Giants, and that's gonna be kind of an all male variety. This here is Mary Washington, and this one's gonna have males and females. The females will produce little red balls, and they're poisonous, but inside is gonna be usually like 3 to 5 hard black seeds. And one thing that I like about having a female variety is it makes seeds, which makes more. Now to start from a crown, which is this one little section here, and then all the roots that spider out of it. Can you take the rubber bands off of there and give me one? A crown's gonna get you stuff quicker than a seed, because my original ones that sprouted up from seed here, you know, they're like this tall their first year, maybe a little taller, but like thin, wispy little pine tree looking guys almost. But if you start with a crown, then you're gonna get stuff quicker, and it's gonna be there for years to come, possibly even decades to come. So that's why I'm adding more to this environment, and I'm gonna kind of plant them in here on the front so that the hops go up that way, and then these crowns, see, here's where it's going to grow from, and this is the root system, kind of like a squid or octopus looking guy. These ones will grow up in front of it, and then by doing that I can have, you know, food that I plant now and is here for years and years and years to come, which is the type of ROI I like to get. I've planted the crowns at this point, and because I'm top dressing them so heavily, I didn't bury them as deep as I normally would because I'm adding soil to the top of it. But these are all these buckets of rabbit manure. And then I'm going to spread that out. And then I'm going to add on top of it some of those buckets of compost. And they'll be tucked in for the year and they'll be ready to go. I'm also going to come over to this part where I have this big muscadine grape archway. And I'm going to add a layer of soil through this whole thing here. There's a couple of strawberry plants in here, more over here, but I want them to be able to just kind of fill this whole area. So all these ones out of the pathway, those are all just strawberries everywhere. They don't need to be in my pathway. They need to be in the raised bed. So they're kind of making a run for it. So I'm going to add my growing medium and then take all these guys out of the pathway and put them back where I want them growing and let them restart from there. And that'll be next. Oh, here we go. It's all tucked in and ready for the year. I may add another layer of rocks just on the border. Keep that coming up maybe to like that height. But this is how it looks, and I'm not doing too much back there right now. There's a lot of wild edibles creeping in, but I wanted just to get these asparagus planted and fed. So now it'll be on to the strawberry bed. But look at this first. Look at this beautiful cherry bush, just covered in flowers. On warmer days, the bees are just out here hitting this like crazy, which is great. That's part of the reason we got them. It was probably last fall, last time I messed with any of this. So right now I scraped up all the leaf litter and all the stuff that the chickens kind of kicked out and mixed. I added that to here with the one that was still working. Kind of a layer of the leaf litter, a layer of my compost stuff, back and forth, back and forth. This one's pretty much where I need it. I'm just going to sort through it. But I want to haven't messed with this in a minute either. I used to have a really nice system with this metal where it would angle down into a gutter, and the gutter would go to a 5-gallon bucket, and when the 5-gallon bucket would get full, I would just take it away. It worked really good. Some dogs, when we had this off-site, came and scared one of our rabbits out and killed it, but they just kind of tore it apart, and I never took the time to fix it back up, so it just kind of creates this mess where things build up. Not ideal. Not ideal, but I'm scraping that back to the ground level right now, filling up all these buckets now with rabbit manure, and that's going to kind of be the base. I'm going to add the rabbit manure to the existing bed, and then I'm going to scrape up some more of this stuff because this is really nice soil, and it kind of slopes up and is deeper up here. I'm going to remove a layer of this and then that stuff to add to the top. And once I do that, I'll plant the strawberries into that, so they'll have this stuff beneath the soil, and they'll be reaching a lot of good nutrition from. I don't know, a good pile of buckets, probably 20 some. I'm gonna go add those to my bed now and then come back for another round of buckets like that and then scrape up this stuff. So I'll have 2 empty composts by the end of it and 1 that's going, and maybe wet it down a bit and let it really start cooking, and then start a new one for all of our garden waste. And I got to make little covers for that so the chickens don't just jump in there and kick everything out. They can help turn it, and I didn't design it that way though, so I may just kind of be more manual, have a preventer, a little cage thing that comes over the top to prevent them from doing stuff. We lift it up, add our stuff, put it back down, lift it up, toss it and turn it ourselves rather than having the chickens do it and then drop it back down, but we'll see. I gotta get this up to the garden. After that first load of manure, I've got maybe 2 or 3 buckets to add on that side of the fence. This is all good through here, maybe 1 or 2 more here, and 3 on that side of the fence. So I'll pick up 8 more buckets of manure. All this is planted really well. From here over, I started removing some of these, and there's just strawberry plants everywhere. So those are all the ones I'm going to be replanting, plus everything else out here. And then I'll remulch my outer path, hopefully as well. But I've got some kind of woods compost that I was creating. So this is just scraped up leaf litter and other things. It's really rich. That's the compost there. But here I've got 6 buckets of this stuff. Over here I have another 8 buckets. They're not all the way full, but this is just, I recreated what happens on the forest floor. So we're going to add this as a top dressing for this manure, and then harvest these strawberries and plant them in there to take over this area. This next load looks really good. 15 of these compost buckets and the 8 of the rabbit manure. So I may wind up with extras to top dress some of this other stuff. I'm really interested to see what happens this next year. But here, this is looking great. I've got a little more to cover. That's exposed rabbit manure through there. Right over here, I still got to add some, but this is looking really good. And I think that these strawberries are going to thrive here this year. And the muscadines will come up over this whole thing, which will be really good. And these strawberries seem to do a little bit better in some shade. So this structure here should help them. The strawberries that were always under the muscadines on the short fences were the ones that did really good. The ones in the middle didn't do as good. So a richer growing in medium is going to help. And then the shade should as well. Let's finish this up and then I'll tuck in all these strawberries I pull out. At this point, I still got a couple buckets of compost on the trailer, but this is where I want it. You can see there are some strawberries peeking through that are already in this bed. And then now I'm going to collect the rest of them from outside, plant this, and then maybe add some to this area too. Here we have some grapes growing with Egyptian walking onions beneath, and then strawberries, and they too are out in the path. If you look over there, so I'm going to pull them up and we'll see what it looks like. I had contemplated taking these little strawberry runners out here, plucking them, filling a bucket, and then putting them in, but then I thought, why touch them twice? If I grab them up with some of this decomposing wood mulch, I've got the guy in there. If I just go like this, I only have to touch it once. So I lift it and then just put it straight in. So that's what I'm going to do Then I'll check the weather forecast because we got overcast skies, if it's going to be raining. I'll let things go that way and just have the rain water these. But if it's not going to be, I'm going to hook up a hose and give these a water, so that way their roots can kind of get reestablished in this new area. I'll have to step in later and get the middles too, but this will work fine for the perimeter of it. Healthy plants though, I think they'll do awesome out here. What happened, Bug?
I was digging in the dirt and this lizard was in the dirt.
Do you know what kind of lizard that is?
A 5-line.
5-line what?
Skink.
Skink? It looks like maybe a broadhead skink. But yeah, it's a skink. Wow, dude.
Oh.
Careful with it. It's very slow now. Why is it slow?
It was in the dirt.
And what's the temperature like?
Warm.
Is it warm outside? Or is it cold?
Cold.
Yep, so when it's cold, they're slow. You have to find a good place to let it go, okay? Do you understand?
We found 2 lizards and one and the
Hang on to it better than that. Okay, hang on to it better though, so that it doesn't get away or keep dropping. And go find a safe place to put it. Thank you, son. Yeah, we got some green coming in through here. Got a ways to go.
She pulled more fur.
What's going on today with you, Pinky?
I have baby rabbits. They were born yesterday. She pulled
Baby rabbits born yesterday. Well, we won't take them out too much because it's pretty cool, but let's peek.
She pulled a lot of fur. They're always
Yes, she did. Oh, daughter. Super cute up in there. Let me see.
There's 2 gray ones and 3 black ones. They're gonna start jumping around.
Well, congratulations. Which is good, because you got some people who want some coming up, right?
And I need one more, though, because one of ours died.
Oh, so we got one of our own to replace. Plus some people wanted some, so. Oh, daughter.
Look at how fat they are.
Yeah, they look good. And only 5 in this litter, huh?
Yeah, she's first time.
First time mom?
But her great-grandma actually had 12 her first time she had babies.
Wow, and sometimes the first time mamas don't do so good.
Yeah,
but this one's been so far so good.
One that was related to her, and her babies were born, and then she killed them.
Okay. Well, we'll just leave them be.
She loves her babies.
Let her do what she needs to do.
She stayed in here after she had them for like an hour or something. She was in here for a long time.
Wow. At this point, we are planted, and we look good. I really look forward to seeing how this does both this year and then in the future, because we're just going to let it run this year. Over here I still do have an amount of ones outside that I need to pick up from here over, so those will go in one of my other beds. But this looks amazing and I'm excited. As I mentioned earlier about taking this year off, you know, some people will say, oh, well, that was just for the Israelites in the Old Testament. And it was given to them, But you see all sorts of stuff like, it doesn't say don't put a stumbling block in front of the blind. It doesn't say don't curse the deaf in the New Testament. In the Old Testament it did. So do we say that was just for them? Of course not. We don't go around cursing the deaf, putting stumbling blocks in front of the blind, even though that wasn't reiterated in the New Testament. And some people think it's just for inside the land of Israel as well. At the moment, I don't think so. And even if you look at the Ten Commandments, it says honor your father and your mother, that it may go well with you and your days may be long in the land which the Lord your God giveth you. You know, so that means, hey, bug. I planted those. Hold on, that's my garden, dude. That's inside my raised bed. What are you picking? Yeah, dude. Those are, I planted all these. Inside here. This is my garden bed. Elephant garlic's back there, white horehound here. These guys in the woods. You can pick things in my garden right now. We're gonna let those things grow. Yes, you may eat them. I know you think they're good. Do you understand?
So,
Okay. I wasn't sure what he was pulling up from my distance, but like I said, should he only honor his parents if we happen to be in the land of Israel? Come on. We know that's not true. So, it's a learning experience for us. It's very interesting, and like I said, gotta be the worst time in my entire life not to have a garden. I've got just over a week left that I'll be preparing to take my year off, and then we'll see how it does without us intervening with it. Should be interesting. Should be a learning experience, and personally, once I got over the initial shock of it, I'm kind of excited to think about everything else I can get done if I'm not focused up here so much like I normally am. And then just to kind of be able to focus a lot of that attention elsewhere. I think it'll be good. So that's that. We got some asparagus in. We got some strawberries in. And I've got more things to accomplish. But I'm going to put down the camera and try to crank out what I can between now and sundown. And I got to check the weather too. See if I got to take care of the watering in myself or if that's going to get done for me. But we'll see you next time. Papa out.
bugger out. Thank you for watching. And the left button. Thumbs up. Bugger out.
The cow head is good?
Yeah.
That's because you know.